Hey guys, what's up? Ben from Snowboard Gamer. Welcome to episode 5 of This Week in Board Games, where I review all the games I played last week, go over any board game news, and if I get a package, I go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. Someone scheduled a conference call during my lunch hour, and it was kind of a boring conference call, so I pulled it out and played it at my desk. Onirim. I'm not quite sure how to say it. It's a much better version of Solitaire. You're basically stuck in a dream and you're trying to escape it through the doors. You're trying to find keys and avoid the nightmare cards. Next, I played Sheriff of Nottingham with Travis and some of his friends. This is a really fun bluffing game where everyone takes turns being the Sheriff of Nottingham. Each player loads their bag up with goods, cards they put in a little felt bag and snap it closed, and then have to declare the goods that they're importing. Now you can sneak contraband in, which is worth more points, and then he has to decide whether he's going to inspect it or not. And if you're telling the truth, he pays you. If you're lying and you try to sneak some contraband in and he busts you, you have to pay him. And you can bribe the sheriff to let your goods pass. Really fun game. Last weekend was Gen Con. It is the largest board game expo in the United States. I think around 60,000 people attended last weekend. I didn't get to attend, but if I could have, the few things that I would have been interested in checking out, a new game called Whistle Stop, which looks pretty interesting. Another game called Photosynthesis. They had a demo of the Game of Thrones Catan, which looks really cool, as well as the Fallout board game by Fantasy Flight Games. I've seen a lot of people posting on Instagram Gen Can't. Basically, everyone who couldn't go to Gen Con had their own board game parties this last weekend and called them Gen Can't. Instead of having Gen Can't, I flew out to Vegas to visit my cousin Will and Amy and their kids, the ones who call me Funko Ben. I'm their dad's cousin, which makes me first cousin once removed, but that's kind of boring, so they call me Fake Uncle Ben and shorten it down to Funko Ben. So instead of Gen Con, we had Funko Bank Con, and it was a lot of fun. I flew out there, stayed with Will and Amy for the weekend, played with their kids. We did a lot of board games. Will printed 3D badges for our conference, and they were awesome. He also wanted to print me a 3D skull dice rolling cup, which is really, really awesome. It can fit all 6 of the King of Tokyo dice in it. Very, very slick. Thanks, Will. I love it. I brought a copy of Ice Cool With to Vegas. Now this one won the Kinder Spiel des Jahres. So I looked it up. It's not Spiel des Jahres. It sounds like you're spilling a jar of beans or something. It's Spiel des Jahres. I gotta relearn how to say that. I did an unboxing with their kids. We played it at least 4 or 5 times. It's a really fun game with these little penguins that you flick, and you're trying to get the penguins through these doors at the school and escape the hall monitor. You take turns being the hall monitor where you're trying to chase down and hit the other penguins, and then everyone else is trying to run through doors and collect fish.
So you could like not.
Oh, almost.
Oh, it's my turn. Here we go.
So if Dad manages to get me, it's game over for all of us except for Dad.
Wait.
It might. Is it gonna hit red?
No.
No, not quite. Really fun game, even for adults. Will and Amy taught me Tokaido. You're essentially a traveler in Japan, and you're walking down this lonely road. Along the way, you stop and you go shopping, you meet friends, you eat, you visit the hot springs, and you paint paintings. Very, very aesthetically pleasing game, and a lot of fun to play. Will taught me the builder's Middle Ages. You're getting workers, and you hire the workers to build buildings. And when you build the buildings, you then get a reward of some cash. You get your workers back, and then you can assign them to build other buildings. We played Rumble in the Dungeon. It has these modular cards that you set up a dungeon, and it looks like a top-down view of The Legend of Zelda with the walls that are at angles. Each person gets secretly dealt 2 little tokens that represent their 2 monsters. So you don't know who everyone else's monsters are. And you're trying to keep your monsters alive. The ones that stay alive the longest get the most amount of points. Will and Amy taught me Bang the Dice game. Now, I actually own this game. It's still in shrink wrap, but I'm going to be opening it soon. It's got secret roles. You've got a sheriff and a deputy, renegade, and a bunch of outlaws. And the sheriff and the deputy are trying to get rid of the outlaws and the renegade, and the outlaws are trying to kill the sheriff. You roll dice, Yahtzee style, where you can keep some of them and re-roll some of them, and you shoot each other and do damage, and it's really fun. We went to the park Saturday afternoon and hung out there, played a few board games. Will brought a giant version of Jenga, which was 4 feet tall, even taller once you start stacking them up. That was fun.
Chicken taking one out of the middle.
I'm holding it up.
We also played some cornhole where you toss the beanbags through the hole. We cooked up some burgers and dogs and then went to the pool afterwards. It was a nice break, and then after we got home, we played Mech Verse Minions. It's giant. It took up half of my suitcase, and not just the travel suitcase that you put in the overhead bin. I had to check a full-size suitcase, and this was half of it. Each player controls a giant mech. These minions spawn on the board, and you're running around trying to fight them, and there's a bunch of different missions. We played the tutorial in Mission 1, where you have to drag this bomb across the board. It's really fun. For the 5th week in a row, we played Secret Hitler, but not exactly Secret Hitler. We played Secret Voldemort, which is a family-friendly version that we played with 6-year-old kids. Instead of having the fascists and the liberals, you have the Death Eaters and the Order of the Phoenix, and one person is Secret Voldemort. Will printed this online. There's a print and play version, and he uses 3D printer to print the Minister of Magic and the Headmaster of Hogwarts tokens.
Hey, who are the Death Eaters?
Yes. See that card? Is it green?
So,
Pointing at everybody at different times like that.
He's just gonna
This is
rotate through all
chaos.
Wait, you got one more, sweetheart.
This is very well a bunch of chaos.
We played Love Letter Batman with their kids. It's the same as regular Love Letter, except you go to 7 instead of 4, and it's Batman themed. The only difference is that if you actually use the number 1 card, which in this case is a Batman instead of a guard, you actually get a token. So you're rewarded for guessing someone else's card. I brought Scythe with me. It filled up a good chunk of the other half of the suitcase. Did an unboxing video with Will while we were there, and then we learned it and played it for the first time. This game is amazing. It's a fictional world. It's essentially Europe post-World War II with these different factions which kind of represent the different countries. One looks like Britain, one looks like Russia, Spain. You've got farmers that you're sending out to the fields to gather resources, and then you've got these giant mechs. It's kind of a steampunk theme, where you've got these mechs that can move the workers and resources around and potentially engage in battle with the other players. Now, this is not a war game. You take a look at this and all the pieces in it and it looks like a war game. It's really not. It's a heavy Euro with an engine building aspect of it. You're building an engine of workers and agriculture. And also you're building buildings and you're building mechs. Awesome game. I rated it a 10 on Board Game Geek. There aren't very many other games that I've rated a 10. I've only rated 4 other games a 10 on Board Game Geek, and they are Pandemic Legacy Season 1, Twilight Struggle, Terraforming Mars, and Star Wars Rebellion. So this one is an instant classic in my book. For 3 or 4 weeks in a row now, we played King Domino. You have these domino tiles, and you lay them out and you're trying to build a 5x5 grid. For the first time ever, I played 2-player 7x7 grid with Will, and he destroyed me, but it was still a lot of fun. The reason I don't have King Domino here is that I may have accidentally left it behind at Will and Amy's house for them and their kids to enjoy. Kids, I know you're watching. Go check behind Forbidden Desert, Pandemic Cthulhu, and Pandemic the Cure. I got no packages in the mail. I got this box recycled from last week. While I was waiting for the bus, there's a toy store right next to there that apparently stocks board games. And I went in there and I found Exit the Game, The Secret Lab. We played the Pharaoh's Tomb with some of our adult friends, and we're gonna play this one with our family of 4 here. And I'm really excited. This is essentially an escape the room game. The theme of this one is in some sort of a laboratory, and you get locked in there and you have to escape it. Another reason I got the box is because I just like chucking boxes. Oops. That is it for this week in board games. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more board game videos, and I will see you next time. Bye.
All right, we're gonna go bend the Joker. Give Robin. I've got Batman. We'll see if he falls for it. All right,
All right, who's going first?
I'll go first. Ben, do you have the Joker?
What? How did you know? Are you kidding?
Okay, so that's my turn.
Did you guys set me up? You guys set me up. No one guesses the Joker on the first round.
I'm safe.
Oh, look at that! I got a Joker.